Hey everybody, SPAZ here, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of Comic Corn, where I talk about some comics that I have. These are comics that I have been purchasing lately, or receiving, and these are things that are the newer titles. The last video I talked about some of the weird odds and ends that I've been picking up in the 50-cent bins and stuff like this, but here's some of the stuff that I've been reading that's new that you may or may not find interesting, but just be happy that you are probably, you right there, that's right, the person that's watching this, you are probably the only person who's ever going to watch this video, and I'm currently totally aware of that, but that doesn't stop me from making videos about comics, because eventually somewhere down the line someone's going to go, hey, there's another video to skip. But guess what? We're going to start talking about my comics, and this is issue number 1 of Superman, the new Superman by Brian Michael Bendis. This is the variant cover. I don't buy variant covers to flip them to make money down the line. I buy variant covers only if I like the cover better than the official version, and this is one that I like better than the official version. Most of the time I will probably buy just the regular issue, but this I like, so I bought that. That's brand new Superman. This is issue number 2 of the brand new Tony Stark Iron Man series on Marvel. And let me see here. This is very interesting. Farmhand on Image. This here is very interesting, like I just said. The art is almost, somewhere between childlike and adult, but the story is very adult. It's a guy who has figured out how to grow body parts, limbs, hearts, livers, basic eyes, basically save people's lives, but there's something nefarious about that, and I'm sure we're going to learn about it in future episodes or issues. God, I always think TV. It's like I'm thinking everything's Netflix now, or YouTube. But yeah, Farmhand is definitely something to check out. That's the first issue. Here is a rebooting of Captain America. That's right. I have not read this yet, but I'm very excited to read this to see what they think of the new Captain America. I've heard mixed reviews about it, but I don't care what the reviews are. If I like it, I like it. Here's the 6th and final issue of Brave and Bold, starring Batman and Wonder Woman. The art in this has been absolutely tremendous. It's been dealing with like Scottish folklore and fairies and goblins and demons and stuff. Look how beautiful that art is. But yeah, that's definitely the Brave and the Bold 6-issue series. I'm sure it's going to come out in a trade paperback. So if you didn't buy all 6 issues, you should buy the trade paperback, and that's really fun. Magic Order. This is issue number 2. I enjoyed issue number 1. This is written by Mark Miller. They're turning this into a Netflix TV series, so I'm looking forward to that. You should check that out online. Maybe catch up on all of Mark Miller's stuff, because he's very creative and very interesting. If you know me, you know I love Christmas. And I found something today that I've been looking for since I discovered it existed about a month ago. This is actually created by a local Sacramento artist, and it's sort of between an issue of a comic and a graphic novel. I guess they call it graphic novel because it is thick, but it's Santa Claus, Private Eye. And everybody knows that I'm way into Christmas type stuff, and this isn't a Christmas story, but it's Santa Claus. And it's Santa Claus Private Eye. And I flipped through it. The art looks great. Can't wait to read that, but I wanted people to know. I was able to pick that up at A1 Comics in Sacramento. They finally got that in, and I'd been looking for a while. And other people that know me, they know that I have a podcast, and that is called Beach Blanket Fort Bingo, right? So when I saw this on the shelf, I said, oh, hell yeah. This is Beach Blanket Bad Guys on DC. It's sort of an anthology of I believe, stories that have come out already, but they threw them together and put a summer theme to it, and it's Beach Blanket. So now every time everybody sees this, they're going to be in the comic shop and they're going to go, oh, Beach Blanket Fort Bingo. I got to go listen to Spaz's podcast. I doubt that very much. Again, I'm the only guy that listens to my podcast. No, actually, not really. I'm the only guy that watches my Comic Corn videos. Here is the brand new issue of Action Comics, issue number 1001. There are variants of this. I did not buy the variants. I preferred to get the regular, because once again, I don't buy comics so I can make money off of them. I buy comics so I can enjoy them. What's the fun in constantly thinking like, oh, gee, which one should I buy? Which one can I make more money on? No, get what you love. Focus on what you love. That's what matters the most. And what matters the most to me is horror, spooky, scary, haunted horror. These are by Yo Books. I happened to pick these up recently. This one is the most recent issue. This one is issue number 13, Unlucky 13, right there. And these basically consist of pre-code horror comics. It's more like an anthology series. Kind of like, you know, when you'd grab like Vault of Horror or Tales from the Crypt or whatever, and there'd be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 different little short stories. That's what these are. He also compiles these and puts them into big hardcover books. I've got those up on the shelf here, but I'm not going to get them for you right now because we're talking about these. Fantastic Four has been... there hasn't been any new Fantastic Fours for a couple of years now, but now that they're about ready to put out a new issue, they've been concentrating on releasing some of the favorite old issues. So these they're putting out, the part of the True Believer series, and they're all $1. So if you walk into a comic shop and you want to read, maybe The Wedding of Sue and Reed, it's there for $1. $1. 100 cents each. So you should definitely check that out. That's a whole lot of fun because you're getting the old 60s type stuff. Speaking of the old 60s type stuff, we're going to stick to a theme. This is the brand new Immortal Hulk issue 3. Interesting series. The first 2 issues were very horror based. They instead of being really superhero-y, they were more like horror stories, not dark like like DC movies, but we're talking kind of like a real kind of creepy element to them. This issue is very different. It takes a story of people who experienced an incident that the Hulk was involved with, and the story is told by through the point of view of different people, such as one of the people discusses this incident, and as he's through his eyes, through his story, the way he describes it, it's almost it's told like an old 60s comic. And then when you get some lady discussing the very same incident, she thought that the character was cute and cuddly, so it's more like a sort of a teen love story. And again, these people are describing different elements of the same story. And then when you get to someone else, he's discussing it like it's a horror comic or a monster. And it's very interesting. I don't know if I'm describing that well enough, but it's neat the way that the different characters in the story are describing it, and the art is completely different, throughout the book. So it's really fun, very interesting to read. I know it has confused some people, as I've seen that online, but I like that sort of different points of view, different types of art type approach. Here's something else from the 60s. Archie meets Batman 66. But I was discussing a little while ago about variant covers. I loved this cover. This is the regular one that you're going to be able to find in most stores. But I also loved one of the variants a whole lot. Because, boy, they sure got Adam West right, didn't they? I mean, that's so perfect. This is the same comic, but this is the variant cover. This is the one that I'll hang up sometime. And this is the regular version. But I don't normally do that. I don't normally buy 2 different ones. The only other one I bought 2 different versions of was the Aquaman and Jabberjaw, because the variant cover was fantastic. And it's actually just right up here, but you can't see it because, it's kind of far away anyway. Here is a variant cover of the new issue of Ice Cream Man. And I think they've got one more issue, and then they're going to combine them all into a trade paperback. It's a sort of a horror anthology series, but not, I guess, not total horror. It's just like weird stories, and like the last one, I think it was issue 4, was kind of like a weird twisted version of the last days of Bill Haley. And they don't say it in there, but I've read the stories of Bill Haley's last days, and then I read issue 4 of Ice Cream Man, and it's just takes that story and elaborates on it. So it's very interesting. But this is about some guy jumps out of a building, and as he goes down, you see all this other weird stuff happening as he falls to his death. And then the focus of the story goes to some of the other people dealing with, it's just very strange. So you should definitely check that out. Silencer, this is issue 7. Silencer is, she kind of kicks ass. She's sort of somewhere between the Punisher and John Wick, where she was out of it. She living an innocent life. She got out of the dangerous life, but then she got pulled back into it, and she kills a whole lot of people. From what I understand, she is now going to be, she's either going to make an appearance or she's going to be part of the next season of Arrow. So definitely check out The Silencer. She definitely is a bad ass. Am I allowed to say ass on YouTube? Not sure. This is a great little company called Alterna Comics. They put out comics for $1.50 each, which is sometimes half the price of, or a third of the price of the other comics. They printed on the old newspaper type paper that the comics, that when we were kids, we used to buy. Yeah, it's definitely that old paper, and it looks like old paper. It's great art, cool stories. A lot of this is untapped new talent, and what they do is he's just got a whole bunch of things, and he's the guy who runs the company. Whose name escapes me at the moment. He's got a lot of great ideas. If Marvel or DC spoke to this guy, if this guy took over those companies, it could turn the comic industry around. Because he's not many companies are really. I'm sitting here and I'm getting excited. I want you to dig this stuff. I want you to go out and buy this, and maybe sit next to me and I'll read it to you or something. But most companies just, or most people are like, haha, this is my thing, and and they don't care about you, the end user. And the guy who does Alterna Comics, he does. He cares about the readers. He cares about the ideas. These are just some of the recent things that I've picked up on Alterna Comics that you should really check out. This looks really fun, really goofy. This is the third. I've got the first 2 of these, so I'm anxious to read this third and final part. This is something that will tug at the strings of your heart. The author of this has a son who has Down syndrome, and he has created a superhero for his son, and the superhero has Down syndrome. And you need to check some of this stuff out. It's really nice. They put out a slightly more expensive comic called It Came Out on a Wednesday. The reason this is more expensive, it's thicker, has more pages, obviously, and it's more of an anthology. Horror, sci-fi, fantasy, and some cool stuff there. So you should definitely check out Alterna Comics. Please do so. Really nice. In fact, I'm going to try to get an interview with the guy for my Beach Blanket Fort Bingo podcast at some point. Nobody likes to talk to me. That's fine. Issue number 7 of Damage. Damage is kind of DC's version of the Hulk. But he only becomes Damage for 60 minutes a day as a result of some sort of army experiment. And this guy, he's whooped Wonder Woman's ass, scared Poison Ivy off, sort of conversed with Swamp Thing. So this guy is major. I think he's going to kick your butt if you don't buy it. Here's another one getting a lot of rave reviews. Gideon Falls. I've loved the other issues. This is the variant cover of the new issue. Gideon Falls is horror and mystery, and it's going to be turned into, I'm not sure if it's going to be like a series on TV or a movie, but it's definitely going to be something that you need to check out. It's kind of like a horror Twin Peaks. You know how Twin Peaks was kind of weird and all these weird people doing different things? Of course you do. Well, this is got a lot spookier than that. So definitely check that out. Robert Kirkman, the gentleman who created The Walking Dead, has Oblivion Song. These are the latest two issues that I should be definitely reading soon. And it hard to describe. There's somewhere, 20 years ago, there was a rift, and part of some alternate universe switched places with our universe. So some of our people got trapped in their universe, and their monsters got released in our universe. So in our universe, they've got it under control. But there's one guy who goes back and tries to rescue the people from the alternate universe, and with these monsters, and it's pretty interesting. The way I describe it is kind of like not very good, but Oblivion Song is fantastic. Robert Kirkman. Here is issue 2 of the Amazing Spider-Man. This is definitely another reboot. They do reboots every few years. I know it gets annoying, and that's probably what turns a lot of people off of comics. But you know what? If you find something that you like, then start reading it. If you don't like it, then don't. No one's going to force you to like or dislike anything. I just want people to give it a shot. That's what I'm here for. And speaking of reboots, here's issues 4 and 5 of Avengers. I really like the story. I don't like the fact that they've got She-Hulk instead of the Hulk, but hey, I can deal with it. But I mean, they got Cosmic Ghost Rider in there. The Robbie Reyes version, and so these are real nice. I actually prefer this maybe a little bit more than Justice League, because there's a new series of Justice League as well. But I have to read these, then I'll get the Justice Leagues. And but finally, I've got a few more here. Here's I've read the first 3, and here's the next 3 Terrifics. And the Terrifics is kind of, they've taken existing characters DC has and put them all together and created almost their version of the Fantastic Four. Again, this isn't like a total blatant like, we're going to, create our own Fantastic Four, because DC's had a whole bunch of different team-ups. It's just kind of a neat thing that they've been doing. Like Damage, I said, was like the Hulk. And the Silencer is kind of like Punisher and stuff like that. So, but it's really, really fun to read these things. Remember, when you get a comic, read what it says, look at the picture. It's like a movie. You can't take your eyes off it and just read what it, just read, okay, then she said this, he said that. Read the little voice boxes and stuff. You can't do that. You have to sort of take it all in, and you begin to understand it more. And it makes it a whole lot fun. Actually, once you put an issue down of a comic, if your mind is sort of still thinking about it and thinking beyond what that issue did, or maybe delving deeper into what it showed you, then it did its job. Either that or you took a lot of drugs. Finally, here's issue 15 of The Creeps. This is like the modern version of Creepy and Eerie. It's really fun, and you should check it out. That's all the new stuff that I have to talk about right now. I'm sorry this dragged on and on and on and on and on, but I just can't stop talking. And I can't stop sharing this stuff because it's fun, it's enjoyable, and like I said, thank you, that one person. You, right there. You are the only person that watched this video, and I appreciate you. And in fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to show you my Santa Claus piggy bank. I'm saving up to buy everybody Christmas presents. I'm going to buy everybody paper clips. That's about all I can afford for that. But anyway, that's it. Thank you for watching this episode of Comic Corn, and we'll see you next time, okay? Smell you later.